Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, the new chapter that's coming. In this video, we'll go over new theories about the character that will appear in the official Chapter 5 header image. For those who've been following Poppy Playtime for a while, you know very well that header images always show the face of the main mascot of the chapter. This has happened with all previous chapters, and it's one of the first big hints the developers give us. Right now though, we're still looking at the first header image, the one released in October, where we see the prototype's hand holding the head of a Poppy doll. A strong, symbolic image, but one that we already know isn't the final version. This first header, as has happened in the past, has always been a placeholder, a temporary image meant to be replaced just before the game's release. And this is exactly where things get interesting, because if the image is going to be replaced, and if the final header will, as always, show the face of the main mascot, that means there's a key character that hasn't been officially shown yet. In today's video, we'll talk exactly about this, which mascot could appear in the new header image, and we'll connect all the clues to the new materials released in the past few weeks. In particular, we'll tie this to what we've seen in the ARG content, where it's becoming clearer and clearer that a new mascot is coming. We'll put together details, timings, images, and hidden messages to figure out if this new mascot will really be the main face of Chapter 5, and therefore the center of the official header that will replace the current one. But before we start, as always, if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, because it helps the channel a lot, and subscribe if you haven't yet, so you won't miss any updates on Poppy Playtime, theories, ARG, and news about upcoming chapters. With that said, I'd say we can dive right in, because what's been emerging in the last few weeks is much more interesting than it seems at first glance. Let's start with the first theory, so let's talk about the possible character that might appear in the Chapter 5 header. As we said before, at the moment the first header image shows the prototype's hand holding Poppy's doll head. A pretty iconic and slightly creepy image, and it's no surprise that many fans have already started theorizing that this will be the final header image. But here we need to pause for a moment and think about some important things. If we look at all the previous chapters, we notice a constant. There is always a mascot in the header, the main face of the chapter. So, technically, Poppy's doll head could count as a mascot, but if that were really the case, it would mean that Poppy herself would be the main mascot of Chapter 5. We have to consider this important fact. Poppy is already the main mascot of the entire series. The game literally is called Poppy Playtime. It contains her name, and her presence has been central from the very beginning. So using her again as the main face in the header of the new chapter would seem almost redundant. Not only would it be a bit predictable, but it would also go against what the developers usually do. Each new chapter tends to introduce new characters or new faces to give freshness and new clues to the players. For this reason, the theory that Poppy is the main character in the header doesn't fully convince me. It's not impossible, but looking at the history of the series and the way header images are designed, it seems more likely that the final image will reveal something completely new, a character we haven't seen yet, or at least a face that hasn't been central so far. Now let's move on to the second theory, which at the moment has received the most support from fans. But be careful, just because it is widely discussed and shared does not mean it is official or confirmed by the developers. It is simply one of the most plausible hypotheses based on the clues we have gathered so far. This theory concerns the prototype. According to this hypothesis, the face of the prototype would be the character that we will see in the final header image of Chapter 5. And if this is really the case, there are some important things to consider. First of all, in the header image of every chapter, the main face of the mascot has always been present, so Poppy's doll head can't be in the final header. The doll's head already represents Poppy's face, so it will have to be replaced before the official release of the game. We can make this reflection. If the prototype really is the character of the header, then he will also become a mascot. Not necessarily his whole form, but at least the head and the part of the body that will be shown in the header, that is the part that has not been revealed yet, must have the typical characteristics of a mascot. So it has to be recognizable and iconic to function as the main symbol of the Chapter 5, just like in all previous chapters. It is important to remember that this consistency with header images is something the developers have always respected, so we can expect that even in Chapter 5 there will be a clear and well-defined mascot. Even though we do not yet know the full appearance of the prototype or its mascot version, all clues point to this possibility. We also have to remember that the prototype is the main antagonist of the entire series. This fact could be very important, and it could influence his presence in the header image. That said, we have analyzed two main theories, the one about Poppy and the one about the prototype. But as often happens in Poppy Playtime games, things are never that simple, and there are always other possibilities to consider. And this is exactly what we will talk about in the next part, where we will explore the third theory, which according to some fans could completely change our idea of who will be the mascot of Chapter 5. For this third theory, we have to connect to the ARG materials. Now it's the time for the third theory, which has been gaining more and more traction recently, especially in the last few weeks, thanks to the new materials released by Mob Entertainment during the ARG. This theory is slowly starting to replace the prototype theory as the main hypothesis among fans, because it seems to make more sense of all the clues that have emerged so far. In the ARG materials from the last few weeks, in fact, there have been references to a new mascot which has very specific characteristics, a red arm and a yellow hand. For now, however, we have only seen this arm and this hand, so we still don't know what its true face looks like, or the rest of the body. But every week the ARG is updated and, as always in Poppy Playtime, every new detail seems carefully planned to give us more information about this mysterious character. The fact that Mob Entertainment is building all this mystery around this new mascot and introducing it slowly and gradually already tells us a couple of important things. It is not probably a secondary character. If the developers are dedicating time and attention to revealing every small detail, then this mascot will definitely be central to the story of Chapter 5. And we can also theorize that, when it is finally revealed, this character will also become the main mascot of the chapter, just like the faces shown in the headers of previous chapters. Consequently, we can imagine that this new mascot will be the character we see in the final header image, replacing the first placeholder image we have known since October. All the little details released so are therefore a clear clue about who the main face of Chapter 5 will be, even though we still don't know its complete appearance. Remember, on Wednesday there will be the next ARG update, and most likely Mob Entertainment will reveal more details about this character, allowing us to get even closer to solving the mystery. Every new clue could confirm or disprove some of the theories we have seen so far, so it will be really interesting to watch how the story evolves, and which face will finally appear in the official header of Chapter 5. We've looked at three main theories about the character that could appear in the Chapter 5 header image. The first theory was about Poppy, but as we said, it doesn't fully convince. The second theory was about the prototype, who could become the chapter's mascot if its face ends up in the final header. Finally, the third theory, which has been gaining the most traction among fans recently, is about the new mascot from the ARG, with the red arm and yellow hand, who will very likely be the main face of Chapter 5. Now I want to ask you something. Which theory do you agree with the most? Let me know in the comments so we can compare ideas and maybe even spot details we've missed. As always, stay tuned for all the latest updates on Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything about upcoming chapters, theories, and updates. Bye bye and see you soon.